No yields.
Yo. What's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host of the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the yard streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's wrestling show where we take no nights off. And it's not just me, Patty P, here in the yard of streams. I am joined, as always, by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hey, yo.
Hi.
What's cooking?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No, I realize I haven't eaten since breakfast.
Oh, so literally nothing is cooking.
Yeah, literally.
It's
Except
not
my
good.
stomach. My stomach is like, oh,
That's more like
Yeah.
bubbling.
yeah.
I get that. I just ate a cheeseburger sub.
Oh, okay.
Those are so good, which makes no sense. It's like, why would you have a sub if you could put on a burger and whatnot? But I'm telling you, when you put things on a baguette, they're better. Right, Remy? Remy agrees with me. She's already making her presence known, Sarah. We love that. We love that here in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Do we love what is also going on in your life? Because you're also busy this weekend.
Yes.
Not only in the Wrestleverse, but in the nonsense galaxy that is the NFL.
Yes, I'm helping with the Commanders this weekend. So I will be on
covering the Commanders?
I haven't covered them yet.
Didn't you cover them last? Didn't we already?
No, Bucks.
Yeah, with Bucks. And then who'd you cover last week?
I didn't do last week. I got the weekend
they didn't
off.
ask you last week.
No.
Oh, for some reason
we were rotating like who was going to help out. So I didn't have to last week.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I thought it was last week you were covering the Commanders too. Interesting.
Nope.
But I feel like you wouldn't have an issue with the Commanders because as Patriots fans, like the Commanders have just been another team. Just no bad blood at all, really.
Yeah, and I'm not one of those fans that's like pissed off that the Patriots didn't get him and got Drake May, because there's some people that are like that, and I'm just like, guys, we haven't been able to see Drake May in his full potential yet. Like, Jaden got put into a much better offensive situation than Drake May did, so chill out. Okay, just chill out. So
just chill out, everybody. All right.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be a good game. We'll see.
Yeah, me too, because they knocked out my Motor City Kitties.
And they could knock out your Eagles also.
All right. I don't want that much affiliation with the Eagles. I'm an ally. All right. Like, that's what I call myself when it comes to the Eagles fandom, where we have alliances. So like we're ally with the Eagles, and I don't hate them. Like, yeah, they beat us in that Super Bowl, but we beat them in 2005. So like, it's a rubber match if you think about it in wrestling terms.
No, it's different.
All right. Well, my brain consistently goes to
because they changed the rules for Super Bowl 52, and that is why the Eagles won.
Well, if we want to keep going in this NFL, if the Chiefs win and end up having the Super Bowl be with the dude who gave him that wicked controversial call that essentially gave him that redo 3rd and 9 against the Broncos, we are so close to having the NFL be basically WWE.
I've been
saying, Sarah, how long have I been saying this for?
I don't even want to talk about it. It's gonna make my blood pressure skyrocket.
All right, well, do you actually want to talk about the WWE then?
Yeah.
Yes, WWE time. Before we get to the WWE, AEW too, and TNA partnering with WWE, we have to hear from the peeps. Sophia's got a couple wrestling belts. I actually saw a toy Intercontinental at Target. It was the first toy belt I've seen in Target in quite some time, because I always scout the toy section for my nieces and nephews to see if there's anything that like they would want. And I always see the standard action figures, maybe like a double pack. but I never see wrestling belts anymore. So when I saw
I
that
don't
one,
either. It's mostly action figures, and the last few times I've been there, it was mostly like AEW
yeah, it's
figures
AEW. It's
and
AEW.
some like legend WWE ones that like nobody wanted. That's all I've seen. But
Poor Paul Orndorff. No one's buying his action figure. Nathaniel wants to know if you're wearing your Adam Copeland t-shirt, Sarah.
absolutely not. I don't
No.
I don't know what that is.
No, you're not an FTR.
I also don't
rated
acknowledge
FTR guy.
Adam Copeland. Who's that?
No, it's Cope.
I need to hear that sexy name, Cope, Just he's such
You're a Death Riders gal too. All right. We stand the Death Riders here.
I mean
Jon Moxley, Claudio. That's Claudio. That's your guy. Of course we stand.
Claudio.
Yeah. He also Pac too. Very interesting.
No, Claudio. Claudio has me hard. What?
But Pac is cool, is what I'm saying.
But like I would do a lot of things for Claudio, So
I'm with you there. Unhinged Main Event Pro. It's good to see you too. Good to see you back. And everyone, it's no new peeps. So, Sarah, we're talking about Claudio, the Death Riders, this week because a lot of people online had a lot to say about that. But in high praise with AEW, we have SmackDown on in nearly an hour and a half, my time, a little bit longer for you. And TNA crushed it last night to the point where I think they're the real number 2 in ranking. So there's a lot to talk about here in the show today. And obviously we'll wrap it up with the 1, 2, 3 count, where a special little segment to wrap up as next week we prepare for the greatest event, the most innovative event in all of sports entertainment, the Royal Rumble, next Saturday. So I have a little idea plan for next week. Don't know when it's going to happen, but we're going to ask for your help to prepare for it. I love that. Sarah loves that too. But we also have things we don't like. So let's just go talk about it in this week's favorite segment.
Don't be a lemon. Be a rosebud.
Don't be a lemon, Sarah. Be a rosebud. Be a rosebud.
I have to tell you something. So I saw this story about former wrestler teases like a WWE return, right? And so I click on the article and I'm just trying to scroll to the quote to see who it is. And I saw Rose said it and I was like, oh my God, is this Adam Rose? No. It's fucking Mandy Rose. I was so disappointed. I was like,
Rose.
I thought it was Adam Rose. I was like, oh man.
She's got something spicy coming out tonight for her.
Don't care.
On her OnlyFans.
Literally,
you're
don't
interested.
care. Let's move on. We can move on.
You don't want to hear me Royal Ramble anymore?
No.
All right. You know what? Then just talk about what your favorite.
Okay, cool. So my favorite thing of the week is the current rumor, and it's just a rumor right now. There hasn't been any confirmation of this, and I'm not even saying that it's legitimate. I don't know, but I like the rumor of Goldberg not being planned to be at Raw on Monday and not being involved in any sort of storyline plans. And the reason why I love that, besides the fact that we don't need to see 87-year-old Goldberg back in WWE, I really like that he's not going to be around because the plans allegedly were to have him do something with Gunther, and I want no part of that. I don't want to see any of it. I don't care that Triple H is in charge. I don't trust him 100% because there's a lot of stuff that he doesn't do well, and I definitely don't trust him to bring in a guy like Goldberg and not give him the title. So
he doesn't like Goldberg. They had bad blood when they were.
Doesn't matter if you're going to bring that dude in when people don't want to see him. You clearly don't hate him. So
you don't want to see him chop the living shit out of Goldberg.
The thing is I don't have a good feeling about that happening. That's the problem, is that Vince let him come in and do whatever he wanted. Didn't he take the belt off of Bray Wyatt? So you know what I mean?
In Saudi Arabia, yeah.
So the thing is awful. You would think Bray Wyatt like getting that belt again would make him kind of like untouchable for a while, you know, and definitely not to be dethroned by some dude like Goldberg. So I know that Vince and Triple H are not the same, and I'm not claiming that they are, but based on how disappointed I have been in Gunther's reign, I don't have anything to feel good about him being put against Goldberg for the championship. Like I don't have any safety of Gunther retaining. Like he hasn't proven to me that would be the case. So I don't want to see it because there is that chance Goldberg would walk out champion, and I want nothing to do with that. So I hope this rumor is true. For multiple reasons. Like even if the plan was to bring in Goldberg and he had nothing to do with Gunther, which seems unlikely, but let's say he was coming in to do something else, I still don't want to see that. I don't think anybody should be thrown at Goldberg, and it's 2025. I've seen enough of Goldberg. I saw enough of him before his last run. Okay.
Correct.
I don't need to see it again. He's older now. He doesn't need to be the champion. Like, I don't need to see it. So no matter who he was against, he could be against my arch nemesis. And I would say, you know what? No, I still don't want to see it.
No, I agree. I would only want to see it if it ended with Goldberg taking a few Gunther chops. But you're right. We don't need to see it. There's a lot more talent that deserve it and deserve the spotlight and other things going on that need the importance and need the screen time. So yeah, we get that it'd be nice to see, but I don't necessarily care to see Goldberg back until like I can't even tell you when.
Ever.
I would like to see it. Sure. I just never say never. So
and that's the thing is, you know, it's something I'm going to talk about with my lemon too, but WWE is no longer at a point where they need to be bringing in veteran or legends, Hall of Famers, whatever you want to call them, nostalgia acts to like boost viewership or ticket sales or like get people invested. They don't have to rely on that anymore. And I feel like if they're going to do that and they want to do that, it should be somebody that people actually want to see. And like the first name that comes to mind would be like an AJ Lee. You know what I mean? Like that is when you can be like, all right, I don't love everything about this because like what we're going to talk about with my lemon, but like people have been wanting to see AJ back forever, you know, like isn't somebody from literally the 90s, early 2000s that's already come back, won the title, wanted, and then coming back again. And you're like, oh, hopefully this will be over. And it's like, no, nobody wants to see this. They don't need this anymore. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense at all. So
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I am with you there. My rosebud of the week is AEW Dynamite as a whole, because everyone online agrees with me. They agree with the champ that this was the best AEW obviously of the year, but that I've seen in a very long time. The way the show started by Omega and Ospreay, yeah, they have the bad blood there, and Ospreay's like, listen, shit's getting real with the Death Riders. And I still got to deal with Don Callis at every turn of the corner. I need help here. And then Kenny's like, no, like you literally tried to kill me with the screwdriver because of Don Callis. And now he's up your ass. No, I'm not doing it. And then the whole fight break or whatever. That's who you build a company around, or those two guys. They're incredible. And then on top of that, just the pace of the show, I liked how it actually felt that you were excited for the things that are happening. You know, you wanted to see what was going to go on with this certain wrestler the next week. Even the like Julia Hart and Jamie Hayter match, very good. You're excited to see what the House of Black looks like without Malachi Black. They're not the hot like Bloodhounds are. I haven't.
I don't know. I don't know. But
I forget at the moment. But those three are continuing. I'm obsessed with Harley Cameron. That woman needs to be on every ounce of AEW programming until Grand Slam in Australia. You need to put her everywhere because
she will be because she's Australian. It's like the
she's going to be there. But the whole point of this week was Mercedes Moné, 4 belts Moné, is walking around the corner, getting interviewed by Renee Young, and Harley Cameron comes up to her. Oh, Paquette, my bad. My WWE was showing. Renee Paquette interviews her about what's next, all this. Harley Cameron comes up and starts singing a song about how she wants to hop on the Monet train. And then the whole interview with Renee Paquette with when she was interviewing Toni Storm and Harley Cameron. Toni Storm and Harley Cameron start talking Australian to each other, whole bunch of gibberish nonsense. Like that type of thing. Like she's so good in every role that you put her in. So why not just give her the spotlight, give her that win? And also, I want to put this out to the peeps that the Death Riders are not supposed to make you happy right now. I'm sorry, they're not. Them taking out the Rock and Roll Express and then tying FTR up like hostages in an old action movie. That's their role right now. And you're like, it's boring. It's the same thing. Yes, because they're the villain. Okay. They are the dark force or darkness over AEW right now because there kind of is in the real world. There's a darkness over AEW right now. So they're putting it on screen there. And they need someone to overtake that, lead the force, whatnot. Edge, like Cope, Edge, Adam, I don't give a fuck what you call him. He's not supposed to win it. All right. So whatever they're doing right now with him, he's not going to end up being AEW World Champion. Jeff Jarrett wants to get in the mix and say how he wants to fight for the AEW World title on his retirement tour. And that's why he's going up against Claudio next week on Dynamite.
My baby.
The first test, the first obstacle along that. And people are like, oh, God, I don't want to see a Jeff Jarrett title reign. That's not the case. Jeff Jarrett is an old school wrestler. When you are an old school wrestler, it is courtesy to go out on your back, meaning you lose your last match. Guys like Bryan Danielson did it. I can think of others, but I'm kind of on a roll here, so I'm going to continue. And it's all about the chase with Jeff Jarrett. It's a sign, at least to me, this is how I'm viewing it, that the old is getting pushed out. That's what the Death Riders are doing. They're weeding out the old so that the new face, a pillar, I might add, can come in and save AEW from the Death Riders, a.k.a. Tony Khan. Because to sum this all up, what did I say that my Rosebud was this week? It is AEW as a whole. And why was that? Because it felt like this week that they are only using Tony Khan as a bank and not as a booker. So boom. That's my soliloquy.
Excellent.
Thank you. I would like you to it's at this point, I know I've pushed you to want to to get to watch AEW weekly, not just the clips online and all that stuff. If they continue doing the stuff like this with Kenny, Will Ospreay, Swerve, and even Ricochet's not bad, but Swerve, the big name guys, then it's going to be that number 2 that it was, destined to be when it first opened up as the alternative. But right now, because they're in such a hole, TNA's popping off. I mean, I'm going to go here when we go around the Wrestleverse, talk about even GCW stepping it up. Like, those promotions are leaps and bounds ahead of them because they're thinking like a business and not like a fan. And that's how Tony Khan books.
Mm-hmm. That's what we've said for a long time, is like the biggest weakness of him. And that's why it's like, you sometimes have to realize that just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean that you should make it your job. Sometimes you're passionate about it because you view it from a lens of a fan. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that you would make a good boss or a good booker or a good owner, like you have to be able to figure out where to draw the line and do things that even you as a fan wouldn't necessarily like, but it makes sense for the story or for the wrestler or whatever, and I feel like he struggles with that.
He's trying to make too many people happy, and in the process has pissed off a lot more of important people.
But see, he doesn't view it that way. That's the other problem. Is like that's going to inevitably happen no matter where you are. Like if we're talking about wrestling, obviously there's people that are not happy in WWE or weren't happy and they either got fired or asked for their release. And in a lot of ways, it's like, it was going to happen because either, you weren't the biggest guy or you weren't the most marketable or they gave you chance after chance and it just didn't click with the audience. So it's like that was going to happen, or you're being pushed back for somebody who's a bigger star. So it's like frustrating, but it feels more like with Tony that he picks favorites and he goes with that, like who he's a fan of or who he thinks people are a fan of the most. And it's like, but you shouldn't always do that because then look at what happens. He has people jumping ship because they either aren't treated well or, they were treated up here and then they saw their future was not going to be that, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're making it easier for some of these people to want out and want to go to the competition. AKA Ray Phoenix, like
AKA Ricky Starks, AKA
I don't know about that, but we'll talk about it. But
we will talk about that. But
there's a reason why this is happening. So
all I'm saying that is a very good spot.
But
very
see, the
good
thing
comparison.
is
very
it's a
good
comparison in some ways because I feel like Dixie wasn't like I don't think that she booked the shows the way that Tony does though. Like, I think she inserted herself into stuff, obviously.
She didn't book the shows, but she was an influence.
But yeah, so what I mean is like, I think she saw it more as a business than like being a fan trying to run a wrestling company. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a difference. I think the comparison is good as far as like just dishing out money. But the problem also is that Dixie didn't pay people.
Because Dixie doesn't have a bottomless money pit. She can just go to like Bank of Con does.
Yeah. So
I want to use Bank of Con is good. That's very good at pits.
He's just as cuckoo as his son. So Shad.
I mean, look at the Jaguars organization.
That's what I'm saying.
And that should tell you everything you need to know about AEW.
All far from the tree, brother.
No, it didn't.
No.
Fucking incredible. Oof. Well, we're already talking about how the Jaguars piss us off. Sarah, what pissed you off this week?
Unfortunately, it is the rumors / slight confirmation, I don't know, of Nikki Bella and her potential return to WWE. So I'm going to try to keep this as like professional as possible.
All right, you try.
I am not a fan of the Bella Twins, and I have never been a fan of the Bella Twins. I think they're overhyped, whatever, right? So I'm not claiming to be unbiased here. However, it was just like not even 2 years ago that her and her sister went on like this campaign to hate on WWE, to tear them down from top to bottom, simply because they were not invited for the like legendary episode of Raw, whatever, like the anniversary. And
oh my God, that is what it was. I'm sorry, continue.
Yes. And they literally were like on a rampage of trying to just shit on WWE and Triple H and everything, right? It got to the point where I'm sure it played a role in them deciding that they no longer wanted to go by Bella and they wanted to go by their real last name. So that was why it's Nikki Garcia, right? That certainly was a factor in it. And then she was seen at the Netflix debut, which is like the first time that we've seen her and WWE kind of like intermingle, right? And was going by Nikki Bella. She was shown in the audience. And now all of a sudden she's training for a comeback. Mind you, she's 41 years old. And
40 is the new 30.
No. And
Okay.
and I'm not shitting on that. Like, she can do what she wants. She's 41, whatever. But it's like she also had a neck injury, so I thought she couldn't wrestle anymore. So maybe she's been cleared. I haven't seen anything about that. But the problem is what I was talking about earlier is that WWE is not in a position where they need these people to come back. Not on like on a long-term basis, okay? Like, if she comes back and it's just for the Rumble, and maybe she's going to actually do a little bit more in the Rumble than she has previously, like last more than 5 minutes or whatever, fine. But when we start to get into this whole idea of like, oh, she's going to come back and she's already mentioned who her dream opponents are, which is, like Tiffany and Rhea and this and that. No, girl. Like, they don't need to be facing you right now. It's like the women's division, especially. I mean, WWE as a whole doesn't need, people like a Nikki Bella or a Goldberg, whatever. Like, they don't need them right now because their rosters are so jam-packed. But if we're talking about the women, there's already so many women that aren't getting treated right or getting on television as it is. Like, are we going to forget that Lyra Valkyria just won the first ever women's intercontinental title and she wasn't even on Raw this past week? Like,
they had a video package.
Doesn't matter. She still wasn't on. Like, she didn't even get a match. She didn't get anything. So that's what I'm saying is, we don't get Candice LeRae. This is what I'm saying. Like, there are plenty of women. And then look at the NXT roster. You're telling me that we're going to bring Nikki back and then we're going to have to figure out what to do with like Julia. Like, no, they're not in a position that they need a nostalgia act or a girl that's like, oh, I'm not doing anything else. Let me come back. It's the same thing that kind of like what I said, much different, but The Rock, like WWE doesn't need The Rock right now. They don't.
They don't need him.
So, but hold on. I'm not comparing them. Obviously, The Rock is up here and Nikki Bella's down here. But what I'm saying is like, they don't need these people. Like, Saturday night's main event looks like an absolute crap show, in my opinion. Like, if you look at what the matches and stuff are, it's not gonna be great. It's just not. There's less than 1,000 tickets left available of like 60,000 something tickets, so it's like there's certain things like that or whatever it is in Royal Rumble too. It's like, but who's headlining those? It's not The Rock, it's not Nikki Bella, it's not Goldberg, it's not any of these people. They don't need them. And when we're talking about the women's division, Nikki is not needed right now. There's women that need to be on TV more than her because they're active in their career right now. They're trying to get on TV. They're trying to win championships. They're trying to do this and they're trying to do that. They're not trying to get into a storyline with Nikki Bella for the fun of it because she wanted to come back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to hate on her. Like, if that's what she wants to do, like, I get it. But you also said that you wanted to go to AEW. That was something you also said not too long ago, which sounded more like a threat than anything. But like, they're just not, they don't need her. Like, am I crazy? They don't need her. No,
I'm just laughing at the fact that it's threatening to leave for AEW is like, I'm going to do it.
No,
I'm going to fucking go to AEW. And then it's like, oh, okay.
That was when they were on their rampage, though. That was when they were.
It's gonna hurt you more than.
They were on their rampage talking about how WWE sucks and they're this and that, and then they're like, "We had a phone conversation with Tony Khan and we've talked about going back." It's like, shut up, girl.
Tony Khan is like the little kid that has like his special interest, and he gets wicked into it, and is just wanting everyone to be part of it. Like, that's what Tony Khan is, and he was asking every wrestler that had WWE attached to them at all.
I know.
Oh, I'm telling you, the peeps.
Yeah.
Like, that any wrestler that had WWE attached to them, he was just talking to them because that in his eyes, that's what's going to be best for business. But he is not looking at the full landscape.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, if we're being honest and you're being legitimately honest, which a lot of people, especially Bella fans, cannot do. The Bella twins were never that good in the ring. Ever. And if you're really going to tell me that Nikki Bella could put on a solid match, step by step with Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, like, You're
It'd be
lying.
slow. She
You're
could
lying.
hang. It would be slow.
She
Like
can't even
it's
hang
not.
with like Tiffany. So what I'm saying is like
They're too athletic.
But
You're
well,
right.
it doesn't matter though. What I'm saying is like obviously they have they learned a different style of wrestling when they were coming up. It's different now, but still, like they were never strong wrestlers. It doesn't matter if they're super over with the crowd. We've talked about this a million times. Jey Uso is super over with the crowd. That doesn't make him a good wrestler. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. And I would argue, this isn't true, Final Boss, but
What?
The Rock don't need WWE. I would argue about this. I think he kind of does.
He doesn't. Money wise, he doesn't.
Do you know why she held the Divas title for that long?
It wasn't even good. You know what was good? The entrance.
What? Why did she hold it that long?
Let's light it up.
To eliminate AJ Lee from the record books as the longest reigning Divas champion. That's why she held the title that long. I'm not trying to discredit her and be like a complete hater, but that is exactly why she held it that long. That was why.
Hurts.
Because at that point, Vince was being very vindictive, obviously. He was trying to eliminate CM Punk from the books, trying to eliminate AJ Lee from the books. And the easiest way for him to do that with the Divas title was to ensure that Nikki held it longer than AJ Lee did. So, yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yes, that was why.
Jackson, this is why you listen to us. Okay. And
he's not. I'm sorry. He's a great worker. He's not. You're delusional, Jay. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I don't want to be mean, and I don't mean that in a mean way. But to really say that Jey Uso is a better wrestler, than Gunther, you're speaking from a bias. Because you could ask the biggest Jey Uso fan, and that might be you, because you guys share the same name. That could be you.
I'm a big one.
But to say he's not, though. I'm sorry. All right, I appreciate that you come in here and watch and you chat with us.
No, I love it.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to get fired up, but I get
this is great. Keep the energy. We haven't even gotten the car to go around the Wrestleverse.
This happens to me when I talk about things that I'm passionate about, and Nikki Bella, the Bella Twins, is one thing that I'm like. This is my point. When he's in a tag team, Jay is solid. He's great. The Usos are arguably the greatest tag team ever. But if we're talking about solo stuff, Jay is not a strong wrestler. He's not bad. Obviously, you're not a bad wrestler and you have a 15-year career in WWE. I'm not saying that. But if we're really going to compare him to somebody like Gunther, come on, guys. Stop. You don't have to like Gunther as the champion. You don't have to like him as a character. You don't have to be a fan of him at all. But there's a reason why so many legends have come out and said, if I wasn't retired, if I could go back 10 years and the current talent was there, I'd want to fight Gunther. There's a reason why they're saying that. And it's not because he sucks.
His character is that he is the champion. That's his bit.
I've never claimed to not be biased, but I'm telling you, if we had a poll, if I could have an official poll.
Put it out right now. Tweet it out right now.
No, I can't do it on Twitter because that is going to be found by all the yeeters, and they're just going to say, that's the thing, is you can't ask people who are Jey Uso fans and hate Gunther. You can't ask people who are big Gunther fans and hate Jey Uso. You know what I mean? It's there needs to be a neutral person that's oh yeah, I like them both, or people who can talk about wrestling without involving their fandom. You don't have to like him, Jay. But that does not mean that because you don't like him, that he sucks. That's not how the world works, unfortunately. So anyway, go ahead, because we've been going on for so long and I can't shut up.
You've been crushing it, Sarah. I
can't wait to get all the hate comments.
Wait. Well, you know what?
I'm so excited.
Controversy creates cash, so at least we're getting rich in the process. Because we got to fill up our tanks and head around the Wrestleverse. It's only us this week. Sarah, you kick things off.
Oh, yes.
I didn't even say my lemon.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Hold on. We're going to just reverse here because my lemon is quick. My lemon is simple. people who are saying that they're upset they haven't seen John Cena yet, and upset that Cena said, well, at the start of the year, I'm going a full year. Guys, let's think with our wrestling brains here, because when you think with your logical brain in wrestling, you're gonna hurt yourself. What is the event that starts the wrestling year, Sarah? Like, what starts
the Rumble.
Exactly. And
also he said he was going to do like 35 or 36 dates. Like, that's a lot, but like not that many. And so people need to remember that too, because like that could be, I mean, they're not doing house shows again until like March, but like if we're talking about it, that would mean like 4 Raws in January. You think he's going to do every Raw? That means he only has like 30 dates left for the rest of the year. Like, it's just not going to happen.
It's going to be well spread out. And
he's declared for the Royal Rumble, so he's going to be in the Rumble. They didn't want him to get involved with any sort of feud leading up to the Rumble, because they were probably going to want him to. Well, yeah, because there's other shit going on. There are other storylines going on that have been building up for the last couple of months. They're going to start or give us like kind of like a hint of what he's going to do at Mania from the Rumble, and then we'll probably see him more, every week or every other week till Mania.
Golly, guys. Yes, like yes, embrace it. Let's go.
See, the thing is though, is like, I get it. Like, I need to be more, I need to embrace more that people don't. The thing is I can't, it's hard to say it, because I feel like when you say that you're a heel, it's like people don't like you. But I feel like all I'm saying, I don't feel like I'm saying or doing anything like controversial or mean.
So Drew McIntyre sounds. I just want to let you know that's
Drew
McIntyre and Kevin Owens.
I'm just telling the truth. Sarah is right.
Sarah is right. Hashtag
Sarah is right. That's me. That's why I'm telling you. I feel like
so funny.
I identify with these people, So shout out Drew. Shout out Kevin.
Kevin Owens is going to be on my television screen in like an hour. So
I know, very excited.
Me happy. That makes me very happy.
Yes.
Oops. So yeah, you had this.
Yes.
I'm just going down the line.
Okay.
For the most part. What? Because I saw.
So
you just.
Yeah. So WWE, the old WWE headquarters went up for sale because they moved to a new building, and so it went up for sale, and it was announced that it sold for like $3.75 million, I think, and it was sold to a real estate investor to a real estate investor. I'm sorry, and their plan is to turn it into apartments. So technically, you could live in the old WWE HQ. What I think is going to be interesting about it is, obviously the building's big, so it could probably be made into like quite a few apartments. But I think it's going to be interesting how they go about like renovating it and stuff, because they could still kind of try and keep like an industrial feel to it, which might make it like easier to remember, like, oh wait, but still, I don't know if they're going to be high-end apartments. I don't know if they're going to be like more affordable. I don't know, but pretty cool to be able to be like, hey guys, I'm living here, and it's like the old WWE headquarters. That's kind of cool.
That is child me. That's his dream, is to live there. That is awesome. The only counterpoint I will make is that I wish they turned it into a museum or a hall of fame of sorts, because that is the one thing that I believe that the WWE needs more than anything. Seriously, more than growing globally, growing with the streaming services. It's something that seems really ridiculous that it has not been a thing yet, because I have people who are not wrestling fans and are mainly sports fans, or even music fans, because you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, ask me, oh, you talk about, you went to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. All right, so where was it? And I was like, oh, it's at WrestleMania. They're like, oh, there's no like Cooperstown or no Canton. And I'm like, no, it's just it's more of an honor rather than being cemented like that. And when I think about it, it makes no sense, obviously, from that standpoint. But if WWE is this money-making machine that they claim to be, how are you not utilizing something that is basically a cash cow by having that museum be something where you could just sell tickets to? You have the artifacts, you have everything basically in that warehouse, wherever it is now, in Granite. No, why am I blanking on where
Stanford.
headquarters is? Stanford, thank you. In Stanford, people would pay to go see that. And then on top of that, why don't you do a WWE shop there too? Like an
Well, and
authentic, like there's so many ideas that you can do with it. As much as I do love the idea of living in the old WWHQ and
yeah,
seeing how they would turn it into modern day apartments, but I see apartments everywhere
yeah,
here, like getting put up. I mean, they just put up and they knocked down a famous restaurant that's in Quincy, aka where I live. They're knocking it down and making it into apartments. With WWE headquarters, it's not like you don't have the money to do that. And
yeah.
even if you don't, whatever you're going to put into it, you're going to get back thrice fold.
Well, yeah, because that's something that people could visit all year round. That's constant money.
I don't
It's not
understand
like,
how this is
oh, we have to announce a show here because we want, money for this. It's like, no, people would be going. I just wonder I wonder if there's some sort of like, if there's something preventing them from doing it, like, is it something where maybe they don't think Stanford is the right place to do it? Like, because it's not exactly a tourist destination, like maybe they want it to be somewhere
Agreed.
else. Or is it something that maybe the city would be against? Like, is there something that they could have a say in it? Like, okay, no, we don't want, you to make something like this that's going to have a constant uptick in traffic and whatever. Like, even if that meant that more money was going to the city because people would be getting hotels and like going to the restaurants and the shops and whatever.
Exactly.
I don't know. It just kind of makes you wonder, because it felt like, I didn't think about this until you mentioned it, but it does feel like a missed opportunity, especially if the warehouse is in Stanford, because then that doesn't require them to like move some delicate or a ton of memorabilia, from coast to coast or wherever. But yeah, I don't know. I would like to see it sometime, but I don't know if we will.
Where do you, if you said that maybe Stanford isn't the right location for it, where would you put the WWE Hall of Fame then? What city feels the most deserving?
I mean, because it's not far away, I don't think New York is a bad idea. Like New York City. We also have to remember that WWF had like that restaurant there, remember? And that got taken out.
WWF zone.
Yeah. But that feels like, because of Madison Square Garden and their connection to New York. I mean, they had other, like I said, the restaurant and stuff like was there. It feels like New York would be a great place, because New York City is a touristy destination for people all over the world. It's not just like people in America want to go and see Times Square and whatever, like people come from out of the country to go there. So that feels like an easy place. And like I said, obviously New York is not far from Connecticut, so having to potentially move, big objects or whatever of memorabilia, it wouldn't be too big of a trip. And then you could also do Vegas.
Yeah, that's just like a
that's a TKO connection too, right?
Because it's like, yeah.
But then we also have to remember, right, that I feel like it needs to be like New York, Vegas, maybe LA. I don't know, but like they have one of these in Riyadh,
which fucking bullshit. But
it's so obviously like traveling is not a big deal. You know what I mean? They brought this stuff from our country all the way over to Saudi Arabia, so like that shouldn't.
And I wonder what stuff is over there and what real artifacts.
Yeah, because they've only shown like little snippets of what it is when they were promoting it, but
yeah, it doesn't seem like more artifact things. It seems more like stuff that they created for the building itself.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, let me see if there's any comments here. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, New York. I don't know if I'd ever make a trip to Saudi at the moment because I don't have a passport, but I would.
I think there's
once
some
I
other
get a
things working
passport,
against us, but
I would go anywhere if I had a passport and was allowed to.
I mean,
I'm just a hopeless wanderer.
since I
My
was
favorite
in
thing to do.
3rd or in 4th grade, I've wanted to go to Egypt. So
That would be cool though.
I've
See
wanted
the
to do that for
pyramids and
so
shit.
long. Oh my god.
How did they make them? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. According to conspiracy theorists, it wasn't made by people. So
yeah, I'm with them.
I don't. Well, it also took years and years to make them. So people acting like they just like carved limestone or whatever and then like did it in like 6 months. That's not what happened. It literally took like decades. So when they're like, how did they lift this like 3,000-pound stone by themselves? Well, slave labor, and it took decades. So probably that.
Yeah.
I also don't want to believe that aliens came down and did it. So
well, aliens are
that's the alternative.
A lot more friendly. Aliens are a lot more friendly than people think.
But then, okay, whatever. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, breaking news. Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
So Hulk Hogan was either he's pulled out or they pulled him
out. It's family commitments.
Yeah,
is what was told.
Yeah, I liked SRS's tweet where he was like, he couldn't do it, or his brother wasn't. I don't remember what he said. It was something about brother, and I was like, that was a good one. So he's not going to be a Saturday night's main event. Obviously, I think that this is a BS excuse. I think that this was probably something that they had planned, and then based off of how he was reacted to at the Netflix debut, they were like, maybe we shouldn't have you there.
Maybe do a one and done.
Yeah. And that's why I said I kind of called BS to the whole idea of them making him Hollywood Hogan and just like kind of leaning into it. I was like, I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think that's not going to change anything. Not to mention he was just, okay, I'm not trying to get political, but like if you're trying to like avoid the controversies, he was literally just at the inauguration talking about Trump-a-mania and stuff. So it's like he's not doing himself any favors.
I think it was the
so it's like these kinds of things, if you don't want to get booed, it's like people have, strong reactions to these types of things on top of all the controversies about him and his behavior and his lies and whatever have come out because, he also just came out again talking about Andre the Giant chugging like 100 beers or whatever the fuck it was. So it's like he can't stay out of controversy. So I think this is just this is best. This is what it should. This is how it should be.
Couldn't agree more. That's all I gotta say because I could not agree more. Do you agree with this though, Sarah? That Bad Bunny says he's the best celebrity wrestler of all time?
So this has sparked like such a debate, and most people are obviously just comparing Bad Bunny to Logan Paul, but I really feel like to me there feels like somewhat of a difference between them. And it's not like, oh, well, Bad Bunny's like a real celebrity. That's an argument, right? Because like he didn't rise to fame by like making vines, you know what I mean? And then TikTok and YouTube, right? So it's like
you saying he's more of a real celebrity than Logan Paul?
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Yes, because he's a musician and he's been in the game for years.
Correct.
And, like he's here because of talent, not because of controversy and whatever. So like that's an argument. But I also feel like when we're talking about just a pure celebrity who didn't really have like an athletic background whatsoever, Bad Bunny is leaps and bounds ahead of every celebrity that has ever done anything in the ring. Logan Paul is like a former wrestler, like he was an athlete, like didn't even really have to do a whole lot of training, which is something that a lot of them have said because he's so athletic and so naturally good. So like if we're taking these things into account, I would say Bad Bunny he is like if we're talking about her from pure celebrity standpoint, Logan Paul is great and every match that he's had has basically been great. I think Bad Bunny has maybe been willing to do more in his few moments. I mean, if we're going to talk about the Puerto Rico show, the shit he was doing with Damian Priest, I haven't seen that from Logan Paul yet, like going through tables and stuff like that. They're both really good, and I understand the debate. I kind of feel like it's silly because they're both good, they're both super entertaining. And if Bad Bunny feels confident and feels like he's the best celebrity wrestler of all time, then let him be, because Logan Paul says this all the time and no one is sitting there being like, well, actually. It's like, no, Bad Bunny says it and it's like, well, actually. Just let him, if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. It's no different than an athlete saying they're the greatest this or the greatest that. It's the same thing.
David Arquette's gonna be pretty pissed about hearing that. Because that was the first celebrity to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously mistakes were made by putting the strap on him and whatnot. And when you see the progress and what?
Remember, didn't I send you the video of him like messing up the spot?
Oh my god, and he fell off
through the gimmicked floor.
Yeah, and they're just like on the scaffold, like, well, we can't fall now.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucked.
Yeah.
Like, look at the progression, the evolution that we've seen from that to Bad Bunny. It's leaps and bounds. Bad Bunny is, I agree with him completely. He is the best celebrity wrestler that I've seen because he can go one-on-one with another wrestler and put on a hell of a performance. Logan Paul is different because Logan Paul signed to WWE, so that celebrity, it's gone. He wants to be there. Bad Bunny is a huge fan like you and I and the peeps, and was blessed with the opportunity to step in there with one of his best friends that he grew up in Puerto Rico watching this shit with. That's the whole point of it. And when you look at the, best celebrity wrestler, the title of it, the man is doing shit that no celebrity would even think about doing. This man did a Canadian Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
The man I think, Priest put him through a table with a Falcon Arrow, and Bad Bunny sold it so clean, and you could tell that protected all that bumbo gumbo.
I think it's also a respect level. I think Bad Bunny
respects
he respects the business way more than Logan Paul does. And I've said that before because of comments that Logan says and has said. Like, you can just tell that he doesn't respect it for the art that it is. And I think part of that is because of how easy it has come to him, and so he doesn't understand the grind and like how hard people have to work to like get into a position to be a main eventer or to be able to do that every single night. And I think Bad Bunny, because he grew up as a fan and like is a genuine fan, like he gets that. So that's why it's like in a way that separates him, I think, from Logan, because that's, in my eyes, that's a huge thing. Cause like, it's really frustrating when you hear people talk about wrestling, whether they're an active viewer or not. And you can just tell they don't respect what these people do on a nightly basis. And that's something that I hate to see, and Logan has done that on more than one occasion. So
Dennis Rodman wasn't bad either, but those were celebrity appearances more than celebrity wrestlers.
But that kind of goes into like what you were saying, though. It's like Bad Bunny would be considered more of a celebrity wrestler than Logan Paul because he is just coming in and doing random things for one match. Logan's claimed multiple times that he wants to be a full-time wrestler. Whether we're going to ever see that or not, I don't know. But like, doesn't that kind of eliminate him from being considered a celebrity wrestler if you're literally under contract? I don't know.
One of the hottest topics amongst the IWC is that Britt Baker could be done with AEW and on to WWE. And this stemmed from the report that she was upset and that she wanted her release, and that TK did not want to give it to her and denied her release request. And it's getting messy to the point where we have leaked audio of...
That wasn't real, by the way.
It wasn't real?
No.
I made a whole new Twitter account and everything. I'm still getting... See, this is... Okay, just take it away then.
I need to help you. I need to help you.
I'm a hopeless wanderer. What did I just say?
Yeah, it wasn't real. Anyway, so yeah, it's not looking great for Britt Baker in AEW. And according to WrestleVotes, when asked, with one of his WWE sources if they would be interested in Britt Baker coming to WWE, they resoundingly said yes. However, they don't believe that she's going to become available anytime soon. And if I were Tony Khan, I would probably try to resolve things with her because, Britt Baker was a big staple of the women's division in AEW for however many years at this point. And obviously she does herself no favors because she's constantly in some sort of drama, alleged or legitimate. I don't know. But that seems to be the problem again now. And so how this plays out will be interesting because even if she is granted a release, like she could be, she could have to deal with a 3-month hiatus where it's like you can't sign somewhere else for 3 months or whatever it is. I think the bigger question is I get why WWE would be interested because she is younger. She, they have a performance center, so like they can bring her in and help her train and get better the same way they did with Jade and all of the other. Tiffany Stratton is a product of the performance center. I think the problem that I have, or the concern that I have, is that because she has been involved in so many backstage issues with men and female wrestlers, I worry about that following her into WWE. Like she's come across some of these other girls that are in WWE right now because if she's worked the indies or they were in AEW before, and it's like, I don't know how good their relationship is, but you also don't want her to bring that negativity to WWE,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that WWE needs a Britt Baker. Like, would it be great to have her? Sure, because she's experienced and people know who she is. But like I said earlier, when we were talking about like Nikki Bella, their women's division is packed and it's only going to get bigger and better because of the girls that they have down in NXT. So where does Britt fit into that? That would be like something they should consider, I think.
She would benefit the most in NXT. If you're going to bring her in, you can't shoot her straight to the main roster because obviously she has not proved that she's ready for it. But I do see her having a lot of potential on the NXT brand, especially with how they highlight the women's division. It gets more time than the men.
It's legitimately almost becoming the women's show, like out of all the WWE programming.
Are you mad? Like, are you complaining that it sucks?
No.
Exactly.
No.
That's what. No.
Well,
it's
and I think it's a good point. Like, I think she could benefit from that, and I think and we've said that with like certain people that we've talked about with AEW that like they would benefit so much from being with a company that has that built-in like training facility for them, that it's like every day they can go in, there's a ring available, they can practice, they can learn, they can do that. And she is one of the people that we have mentioned that with.
What?
Okay. One of our birds died and my mom just told me that. Okay. Anyway, so she could easily benefit from that. That's all I was going to say. Okay.
All right. All right. Well, that's all I have to say too. You want to move on?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So Alexa Bliss return remains to be decided because Alexa Bliss's return to WWE programming remains to be decided after plans of her making her return on Netflix were scrapped at the final hour. And as of now, there are no creative plans on the table for her to rejoin the roster, which is sad because there are a lot of opportunities in my eyes for her to be slotted back in, especially with the Wyatt Six. Both shows women's divisions need a little bit of star power as we head into the most important season of the year, WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble, kicking that off. Let's in a week from tomorrow. kicking it off. So I'm sad to hear this from the human standpoint, because I do follow. I'm whatever. From the human standpoint, she is dealing with a lot of personal issues. She just had a child, so getting back into ring shape is one thing. And then she also lives in California, Los Angeles specifically, and has had to move around, because of the wildfires. So I am looking at it through that lens, in that maybe it's not the right time. However, this is a wrestling show, so we'll talk about that. It is it's missed. We're missing something if we have not put her with the Wyatt Six at this point. It seems like just fish in a barrel.
Yeah, I don't know what would be best for her. I didn't necessarily love the idea of her being with the Wyatt Six, especially now that they were moved to SmackDown. Because I think the women's division on Raw could use her. So I don't know exactly what the issue is or what the holdup is, because it feels like we've been saying like, oh, she's coming back. She's she's training to come back, blah, blah, blah. It feels like we've been doing that for so long. So it doesn't make sense that there's like another problem that's holding it back from happening. Like, I don't really understand it.
I don't either, because she's someone that I would like to see go have a feud or a little interaction with Scarlett. There's a lot of Scarlett's one. I would like to see that. I would like to see her in the title picture. Obviously, she's proved it before, and it would add a new face to the title picture. How would Alexa do in the ring with Rhea? What kind of match would they put on? Just little stuff like that. Would be nice to see her add in, but unfortunately we have to wait, and that is sad. So let me see if there's any comments. Oh yeah. Anna J, she's stuck on Collision. Goddess Alexa versus Babyface Tiffy would be a fun program. I would like that. That wouldn't be too bad. All right. Matt Hardy believes the Hardy Boys will be back in WWE before the end of 2025. Do you know, Sarah, this is a John Alba prediction that he said on The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, that John Alba, they were giving their 2025 predictions for the year, and Alba's was that the Hardy Boys would wrestle in WWE once again in 2025, which all signs are pointing that way. All signs are pointing that way for the Hardys too, with the extension of their partnership. We just saw Fraxium put on a banger of a match against the Rascals last night for the NXT Tag Team Championships, and it's been teased a little bit. It's been teased a little bit with the Hardys and Fraxium. That match just seems like it needs to happen. The Hardys have really reinvented themselves over the years, and their match at Genesis against the Rascals was so good, but not because they did vintage Hardy shit, but because they were just the Hardys at their own age. You know what I mean? Like, they have evolved to be working to their age and not trying to do over the top shit that they once did to try to save face. They're such an integral part to the business, and it seems inevitable that they're going to return to WWE.
I don't know if they'll return. I think that they might have a match on NXT TV. I think that's more likely than them being in a full-blown return. I think that they might be TNA signed and have a match for like the NXT tag titles, but have it on NXT and not on TNA. I feel like that would be more of my prediction than them being fully. I mean, it's possible that they'll end up finishing their career with WWE or something. But based on what they've said, it doesn't sound like 2025 is necessarily the end. Like that, they don't have plans to retire necessarily. But yeah, I think if they're teasing it kind of already, then it feels like that's going to happen at some point. And why not do it against like the hottest tag team in NXT or in WWE right now in Fraxium?
Fraxium is the hottest tag team in wrestling right now. They are easily the best. They won some award for the best tag team in 2024. I don't know what, like, they are a team that were just thrown together, a bedfellow, if you want to use a wrestling term. And oh my God, they are just putting on magic every single week. It doesn't matter who they get in the ring with. It seems like their chemistry is off the charts, and the matches they produce, it feels like a big match feel every time they go out there, whether it's on NXT, TNA, or one of the PLEs on Peacock. So,
yeah. Sorry, I'm very distracted right now.
I can tell. All right, we can knock off some things here too. Yeah, we'll knock off that. There you go. We don't need to talk about all those. Let me just get rid of these. Talked about that. We didn't talk about this. Saturday night's main event is happening tomorrow. Like 24 hours in total. Before it happens, Saturday night's main event. It's not as hyped up as the last one, I can tell. But it still is going to be an interesting show. So just give our quick predictions for it. I just will say the match off the top of my head because this page is still loading too slow. We'll start Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman. Do you think that's going to be a fun match at least?
Yeah, but Jacob needs to win.
All right. I will say Jacob as well. I don't see Braun Strowman winning that with how they're presenting Jacob Fatu right now. Absolute monster. Rhea versus Nia.
Rhea is winning.
I got Rhea as well. This isn't a match, but I'll just throw this question out there. Where do you see the contract signing between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens finishing? If you're catching my drift.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, all contract signings are never normal.
No.
But no, they're not. I don't know how it will end. I mean, I assume a contract will be signed.
Oh, that the contract's going to get signed. I have a feeling that this is going to sprawl into the parking lot, and they're going to have one final bam moment to really make Cody look like the underdog going into the Royal Rumble, whether that be, him getting pop-up power bombed onto the hood of a car, whether it's him getting hit with a pipe or something, whatever the case may be. But I have a feeling that KO is going to lay Cody out somewhere, not outside, not in the ring. Is my final prediction. Oh shit. So that was 1, 2, 3. We have a couple more matches. Gunther versus Jey Uso.
Gunther.
I hate to break it to you folks, but it is going to be Gunther. Okay. I don't really need to explain it any more than that. Yeah, there we go. All right, and I'm missing one more match, I think. Braun versus Sheamus.
Braun Breaker is winning.
I got Braun Breaker hitting him with a nice spear, splitting him in half, retaining the Intercontinental Championship. And then this will bring up quick before we get into the 3 count. Saturday night's main event will be going head to head against AEW twice in the 2025 calendar year, with the first one being, or I don't know when. No, the first one is, it doesn't matter when the first one is. 2 Saturday night's main events are going toe to toe with AEW. The first one being All In when it's
May.
in Texas in May, and then the other one in
July.
April. July, excuse me. Yes, May and July. Second one being All In, and the first one being Double or Nothing. Sarah, what do we think of this strategy? Like, who does this end up being worst case scenario for?
AEW.
Okay.
WWE is gonna know that they're gonna be going against them. They're gonna stack the show the exact same way that they did every time AEW moved to Tuesday because they couldn't have Dynamite on Wednesday, or when NXT had to go on Wednesday. It's gonna be exactly the same thing. Like every other time that they've gone head to head recently, WWE is gonna make sure that they pull out everything.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think it's a good idea or it's not the best idea for AEW, not the best case scenario for them, because this is what happens when you burn bridges and are the way you are. They see you as the enemy, and when WWE sees you as the enemy, they're going to go after the jugular to take you out. I've already seen reports. I don't know how true they are, especially with the shit going on with the misinformation on IWC now, that the ending goal for this partnership with TNA is that WWE would absorb TNA and making it part of under their branch and eventually shutting out AEW of all international deals. And I don't understand it, but yeah. So I just I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the case is going to be there. So yeah. So yeah, we're gonna wrap the show here a little quick. Obviously, stuff came up, but we'll be back, and we will have clips ready for you on the channel. All right, that's why you gotta hit the subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live. And you gotta follow my new Twitter account. Okay, it's at Patty Pitts. All right, don't that old one of Patty_Pitts or whoever it was. No, that's gone. All right, so follow at Patty Pitts. It is the cartoon looking character profile picture. And we'll be back live next week for sure on Tuesday, not only with the Raw Rewind, but we got our Rumble predictions and maybe even a guest appearance on another yard of streams in a nonsense galaxy far, far away. But you got to tune in, hit that subscribe button, bell notification to know when that is all going down. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you could do it. All you got to do is try. See you next time.